Here is your video for Ancient Inheritance floor number 2. But first I want to give a huge shout out to Baka7. Congratulations for hitting top 10 on the leaderboard, guys. I never even made it to the priest, so I'll go ahead and head on over and teleport to floor number 2. I could stick around and pick up some loot on this floor, but floor 1 really isn't worth chasing after loot, so we'll go ahead and move on to floor number 2. So this video is going to be a montage of what not to do in Ancient Inheritance. First big mistake is I entered on the eastern portal side here. And as you can see, we'll be converging on these central small islands to attack the Wardens. And it isn't a big deal, but I should have headed south instead of north. It would have saved me 2 or 3 extra provisions to go south. And because my starting relic's the Exploration Journal, I'm relying on the books for experience points, and that wastes some of my provisions opening the books. That's one of the reasons I prefer the pipe over the journal. But regardless, I went ahead and headed north, and there is the book. So I will go ahead and grab that. On floor 1, the books are only worth 100 experience points, 170 with the journal. On floor 2, they're worth 250 experience points, which takes it up to a whopping 425 experience points if you have the journal. So the books are definitely worth chasing after if you have the Exploration Journal. That takes me up to rank 5, but unfortunately I need to be rank 6 in order to have an open relic spot. My current relics boost Soul Weavers, which I want to keep, and Old Nib, which is honestly one of the best relics in Ancient Inheritance, and I would only want to replace it with a better Old Nib. So I'm going to pass on this and just hit up the next relic shrine after I've hit level 6. Then I can go ahead and pick up a new relic. Now, scrolls have some of the best rewards. There's a lot of RNG to them. A lot of times they have kind of trash rewards like this, but here we come into mistake number 2. I decided that for some reason a little bit of extra experience points and some extra catalysts was worth doing a battle. That in and of itself wasn't a big deal. The big deal is that for this battle I used Kitty Clarissa, and I didn't need to. And Kitty Clarissa would have been really, really handy to have in the Warden fight at the end. I'll go ahead and speed through this fight, but you can see, especially on floors 1 and 2, the battles are pretty easy. You can get away with probably 2 units. Honestly, I could have done this fight with just Conqueror Lilius and Luna. I didn't need to waste a Katie's or Kitty Clarissa in this fight. But done is done, so there's my catalyst and experience points, and I can go ahead and continue moving on. Now, this portion of the map wasn't completed for me by the time I was doing it. If I had waited maybe an hour, I could have seen more of the map, and I probably would have headed north. There's a tent up north, would have given me enough provisions to explore a little more and be better prepared for what lies ahead. But instead I went straight across, I grabbed this book for the experience points and headed for the elevators. Now you can see the one elevator closest to me is brown in color. That lets me know that it's a return elevator. As you can see, I can't use it. So it's the further elevator that is the outbound elevator. And for 2 provisions, I can take that lift down to the island where the Warden and mini-boss that's guarding the guild chest are. And of course it discharges me the furthest space away from the mini-boss, so I have to waste a couple extra provisions walking over there. So now that I'm down here ready to do some fights, I should go ahead and get ready for those fights. First thing I want to do is take a look at my class enhancements and make sure that my team is battle ready. Again, I'm focusing on warriors this run, so I'm going to go ahead and boost my warrior level up as much as I can. That should make my warriors significantly stronger. I don't have enough to take them up to level 8. I am going to use some Soul Weavers, and level 2 is just going to die horribly in these fights. I'll go ahead and pump a couple of levels into Soul Weavers, and then save the rest of the enhancements to boost warriors up again later. Now for the next thing, I'm going to need to enlist some more fighters, because 3 of my fighters are dead from that scroll fight. I do have 7 empty slots, so plenty of room to enlist some new people. I'm really feeling the sting of missing Kitty Clarissa, especially with wanting to use Terranor Guard on the mini-boss. So I struggle a little bit and eventually settle on these units. This brings me to yet another big mistake for today. If I had checked the Warden, who I have to fight after this, I would have seen that it's an ice-based Warden. And the Ice Warden on the east side gives a minus 15% to stats for any unit that's not Earth element. So it doesn't matter what you bring in, dark, light, fire, all of them will have minus 15% to all stats. Only Earth is immune to that negative effect. The West Warden is the opposite. The West Warden is a Fire Warden, so ice units are the only ones protected. All other elements get minus 15%, so consider that when picking who to enlist and building your draft. Now for this fight I decided I would just go ahead and run a traditional Terranor Guard cheese. Went ahead and picked up Montmorency for the heal, Sinful Angelica for the dual attack and attack buff, and I'm going to run command model Leica. Leica has a target debuff in her kit. She dual attacks on her S2, and the Glow Wings artifact gives me an extra barrier. Since the boss does strip, I'm hoping that'll give me an extra layer of protection. Sinful Angelica, I've got 100% effect resistance on her. I'm putting the Bastion of Hope artifact to get her up to 170 because I really don't want the boss stripping her immortality. Montmorency, I'm putting on Maghara's Tome just to boost her speeds. And Terranor Guard, this artifact won't work. I need to go ahead and switch him out for a damage artifact. Since I'm the first one attacking this mini-boss, I'll go ahead and put Portrait of the Saviors on him. If you drop the boss below 50%, a better artifact would probably be Symbol of Unity. Now the one thing I didn't take into account is this boss gets immunity. And that means Terranor Guard's breaks are not going to stick. Leica's target debuff's not going to stick, because I don't really have anybody who can strip debuffs. So if you do this fight, you might want to consider a unit who can do strips. Kinda disappointed that Leica didn't get her debuffs off there, but it is what it is. And now the boss is immune, and I'm going to do relatively pitiful damage. The immunity does drop, I do get some debuffs on, but all in all my score is not where I would have liked it, but the rest of the guild will come along and finish this mini-boss off for me. It's actually kind of okay to have a relatively low score here. It gives more guild members chances to attack the boss and to get the reward for defeating the Warden. And of course that pushes me up a level, and now I can level warriors and make them even stronger. But that will make me a little bit better off for the Lich Fight. So I'm going to go ahead and just reposition myself so in between the Lich and the teleporter. That way once the Lich is dead, I'll be good to move over to the main island. Now again, as a reminder, because I certainly forgot it for this fight, the Lich Fight you want to bring Earth units. Non-Earth units have minus 15% to all stats. Attack, defense, speed, everything. Which is why my score here is going to be pretty disappointing. I try to take in the traditional Tam, Asaria, Camilla, and Nuker unit. This team would have been fine if I had used a green unit instead of Sigrid here. Zahhak would have been a very interesting choice. Zahhak has very high damage, he's self-attack buffs. Would probably have been a real good choice for this. Green Lilibet would have been an amazing choice for this fight. Has a self-CR pushing and does a significant amount of damage. Green Yufine would also have been a fabulous choice. She's got a defense break on her S1 and does substantial damage. But this is what I drafted, so we run it. I'll go ahead and speed through the fight. It's the same as Lich Fights on any other floor. The dual attacks really do assist with damage. The key to these fights is, as always, to try to lay down as much damage from dual attacks as you can, with Tamarin supplying attack buffs and heals, and Isaria laying down defense breaks. Defense breaks are key. That's what makes Camilla so nice for this, is she has a defense break in her S1, so that gives me 2 layers of defense breaks. Because it seems like no matter how high the chance of success is, I can't land a defense break with Isaria. Now I gotta say, watching this fight a second time through, the damage is not that bad. I think if I had an Earth unit on this team, I probably would have gotten maybe 200-300k more damage. Not just because my attack, crit chance, and crit damage would be 15% higher, but also because my health and defense would be higher too, and I probably could have lived an extra maybe 1 to 2 rounds to dish out some damage. But I can live with this score. It's not great, but it's good enough. Did my part. Looks like I'll get one more Tam Isaria cycling. Isaria actually sticking the defense break here at the very end of the fight. Tamarin transforms, lets me push the whole team up, gets attack buffs on everybody, so I can get one more big hit in from Camilla and Sigrid. And that's going to about wrap this fight up. The damage stacking is just so high that I can't stay ahead of it anymore. Not really damage stacking, but defense reduction is how this mechanic works. But anyway, almost 250,000. Not bad for forgetting to take Earth units. Anyway, I hope this video helps you progress into Floor 2. If you have any questions about Ancient Inheritance, leave them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and maybe a subscribe. Have a great one.